Today we're gathering with Layla and Demi, two stars of Hulu's excellent new reality series, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I binged this show in less than 24 hours, and so I'm very excited for the entire world to see this. And I think for you to see this, I don't think you guys have seen all the episodes. How are you
I
two
don't see any.
feeling? How are you two feeling with it almost out in the world?
I think I feel excited. Honestly, I think we've all went through all the emotions, nervous, excited, maybe a little bit of regret, just all of the things. But lately, I've just been feeling really excited that the world's finally going to see this thing we've been working on for the past. I don't even know how long at this point. Yeah, just excited. We worked through the plethora of emotions. We've gotten our jitters out. We've dealt with the hate and the backlash of the trailer and all that's come with that. And I think we're just now like focus on what we can control and just focus on enjoying it. Like this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Who
Oh my
gets to
God.
say that they were a part of something like this? Like we're just excited. Yes.
Totally. And in watching the show, obviously a huge tension, I think, for all of people on the show is, you know, some of the more antiquated teachings and lifestyle expectations that come with the church and Mormon faith, and also some of the more modern decisions that you guys are all making, and so that sort of inherently push up against those expectations. And I would presume one of those decisions is deciding to open your life up on a show like this. So, sort of what went into the decision for each of you to join a reality show and kind of put it all out there?
Yeah, a lot went into it for me. It was not an easy yes at all. I had seen my husband's ex-wife go through the process of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and I had had her perspective of how that was. And then I actually interviewed to go on Real Housewives, and that just didn't ever really feel settling to me, and it wasn't a good fit for them either. So it ended up working out for the best. So then when this fell into our laps, I was like, man, is this something I want to take on? You know, like, am I ready for this? Are we really grounded in what's important? Are we really ready to like open up our family and our lives to this and be vulnerable on this level? So it was definitely not a decision taken lightly. Like, there was a lot of thought and, contemplation that went into it.
Hmm. Layla, what about for you?
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a hard decision, especially with reality TV. We're on social media every day, so we can post what we want, edit it the way we want, and kind of present
Mm,
ourselves the way that we want. And obviously, with reality TV, we don't have that privilege. They get to do what they want, edit it. And I think that it's hard and it's difficult. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I was kind of at first contemplating not, and also our children, like this is something that we're signing up for, but it's also it could possibly exploit their lives in the future. So I think all of us probably did question a little bit if we wanted to do this, but I'm ultimately very happy with my decision to
right.
do.
Demi, who was your husband married to? Which Rich Real Housewife? I don't think I knew this.
Yeah, so she was a friend of, I think, Heather Gay, but her name was Angie Harrington.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
she was a friend of. I don't know like how I know she filmed for like a season. I don't know how many episodes she made it on or whatnot, but yeah, she
Got
kind of
it.
shared her experience with me. And so it made me it put things into perspective of like how things can be and how things can be edited and whatnot.
For sure. So obviously you mentioned the trailer. It was a huge, I mean, I think the trailer's a work of art, to be honest. I think it's a fantastic
They
trailer.
knew what they were
Um,
doing. I agree.
yeah, totally. But it's sort of like it leads with a lot of the more like, salacious things that I think kind of the season leads with, which is like the swinging scandal, a lot of things that Taylor went through. I think that's sort of a lot of sort of the hook, I guess. I think the season's a lot about much more than just that. But what was it like for you guys to sort of be tangentially connected to a lot of what Taylor went through? And because, I mean, you're part of this group together, right? And so in some ways, you're sort of dragged into that.
Yeah, I think it was interesting for sure. It was hard just because, yeah, we did get grouped into the situation if we were involved or if we weren't. But I think through it, we just tried to have Taylor's back and just let her know that we were there for her and that we're genuinely her friends and that we saw past the mistakes that happened in her life and saw her for a person. For sure. And it was a learning experience for all of us. Like,
Right.
it was a very in your face, blatant thing of like, hey, this could happen in a relationship. Or like, if you're not grounded in what's important and like what you believe in and and all the right things, and you dabble in these types of things, this could happen and your life could blow up. Like it was really crazy to watch happen, like watch everything happen and unfold right before us. And it did affect us. Like a lot of people are like, well, you weren't there and you weren't directly involved. And it's like, but we were, because people assumed that we were involved in that and they assumed that we participated. And so that does affect our lives and our reputation.
Oh, absolutely. It was a very sort of like vague label I think that was put out there that like
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people assumed a lot, you know. I think that's very clear. I think even just from watching the show. It's interesting because the first episode happens and then there's an 11-month time jump, you know? So it's like, and in some ways it almost feel, I mean, a lot of you are very consistent, I think, between those two things, but with Taylor, it almost feels like you're watching two different people at some points, just,
Right.
you know, in terms of where she is in her life.
Yeah.
Did it feel like that in filming and being her friend?
Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't even tell you because I filmed the last part of the pilot with them, and I filmed a few scenes with Taylor. Filming the pilot versus filming season one, completely different Taylor.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Like she went
Wild.
through an entire like she unzipped a whole layer of herself and like transformed. I'm so impressed and happy with the way that she has used this to her benefit and learned and grown, and she really has become such a beast. Like I'm really extremely proud of the way that she's handled everything.
Yeah, totally. And to me, you know, you proved kind of all season long, like you just aren't afraid to call it like you see it and kind of push against, I think, or call out a lot of the hypocrisies, honestly, that exist within, again, some of these tensions that I think, spoke about earlier.
Right.
What makes you comfortable in that role? Because it's also the group gets really divided in filming, and you kind of, again, aren't afraid to just like call it out.
Yeah, I think that it's my deep want and true intention to connect with people. And I don't believe that you can have true connection with there being underlying issues and resentment and, little jabs being thrown your way and misunderstandings. Like, I just like to talk about it. I'm like, let's just talk about it. It's going to hurt for a minute, but once we like work through that, our relationship's going to be better. Our relationship's going to be deeper. And that's what I like strive to have in all of my close relationships. So
It's
that's just,
healthy, yeah.
yeah, it's just me trying to genuinely be authentic in how I move through my relationships in real life.
Right. And Layla, this filming happened at a big transition point in your life. You know, you're going through a divorce, and I mean, there's just a lot of change that happens, and you were young, and I guess just like what was it like filming through some of that, and knowing that you had to really work through some of those feelings in front of a camera?
No, it was incredibly difficult, honestly. I hardest time of my life, especially having my babies, and they were going through that transition too. So at the end of the day of filming, when I would come home, it was weird because we were all learning how to co-parent at that same time. My boys were
Yeah.
getting used to going back and forth between parents' houses, so it was a really difficult time. But I just tried to move as authentically as I could throughout filming, and just tried to be as present as I could when I would show up to work every day. And yeah,
What are each of your current relationships to the church and kind of your own faiths? Because I feel like this group exists on a really wide spectrum of that.
For sure. Yeah, I am a current active member. My focus is in strengthening my relationship with God and just trying to be better than I was the day before and strengthen the relationships in my life. And I'm just solely focused on focusing on the things that I can control. There's things that I don't love about the culture in the church. I think that everyone can say that there's things that they're like, I don't know about that, or I don't
Right.
agree with that. That's every organization. So I'm just focused on the things that I can control, and that's my relationship with God.
I think currently right now I would consider myself active in the way that I do go to church when I can go, and I try to strengthen my relationship with God. In terms of following everything to a perfect T, I will not lie and say that I do that because I don't. But yeah, I just try to just take it day by day and just yeah.
No one does.
No one does.
Right.
Yeah. A lot of people don't, but they're not open like us girls are. So
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, you're two of the more open ones. Last question for you before we wrap is, you know, this is a new experience for all of you, and I think we see there's a lot of drama in the Mom Talk group. Where do you two stand with the broader group of women?
Yeah, I'm in good standing with majority of the women. I would say with Whitney, I heard in another interview that she was talking a little bit of smack, and so that's a little disappointing, but not surprising, sadly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am the type of person that I'm like, when we hash things out, that's it for me. And like, if you have a problem, come to me. That's how I address my relationships personally. I know everyone's not that way, and that's totally okay. But I don't have ill will for her at all or anyone in the group. If I have an issue, I will make it known, and as you guys will see in the show, and I'll talk about it, and then that's it. I move past it, and I'm focused on strengthening the relationship. So as of now, everyone in the cast, I view as a friend, and
Good.
I think that's pretty unique for a cast of
Yeah.
women.
Yeah.
I think the same. I think that there's definitely some relationships with some of the girls that I think that me and that person probably need to mend and work through some things for sure. But I feel like that's common in any relationship. It's going to ebb and flow. You're going to have moments where maybe that there's some conversations that need to be had. And I think that's pretty normal. So definitely need to talk with some girls, but genuinely, they're all still my friends and I love them all so much.
Love it. Well, Layla and Demi, thank you so much for your time. This is going to be a whirlwind, I'm sure, but just keep your heads on straight and it'll be a great experience. So thanks again for your time. I want to gab.